I'm used to doing a bunch of interviews
Steve, be here tomorrow and every day after that. Let's get on the radio station. Let's go. KHAK, let's get it cracking.
Number one for New Country, 98.1 KHAK. It's Brain and Cortland on a Friday morning. And joining us in studio, very special guest this morning. We actually talked about the event that he'll be speaking at a little earlier this morning. First of all, good morning to Kevin Hines.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, we are so excited to have you here because you have one of the most incredible stories I think I've ever seen.
You're not as excited as I am to be here, though. That's for
yeah,
sure.
You have the most energy.
I'm excited to be anywhere, anytime. So the fact that I get to be here with you guys is a gift.
Well, Kevin is going to be speaking later on at an event here in Cedar Rapids.
The Cedar Rapids Hope Walk is actually coming up tomorrow morning, and he is going to be speaking tonight at the Veterans Memorial Building in downtown Cedar Rapids. It's free to attend, and there is a reason that you're here, and it's because you have kind of an interesting story.
An amazing story.
An amazing story. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
You bet. Guys, I'm lucky to be anywhere. In the year 2000, because of a disease called bipolar disorder, the very same brain disease both my biological parents had before me as I'm adopted, the disease that killed them with drugs and alcohol, substance use disorder, crushed me when I was 17. I stood on a stage at Archbishop Reardon High School on Thielen Avenue in San Francisco, performing in a show called How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, playing a character called Gatch. And that's when it happened. It hit me like a Mack truck. My first severe symptom of that disease, extreme paranoid delusion. And I began to believe that everyone in the audience was there to kill me. I ran off stage. The teacher and theater director, Mr. John Fennell, met me in the lobby. He sits me down in the theater treasurer's chair. He says, "Hines, can you please finish the performance? It's not even intermission yet. What are you doing?" And I just babbled incoherent nonsense for the next 10 minutes. I could not speak. He called my mom. I would see my first psychiatrist thereafter. I would be diagnosed weeks later with bipolar disorder, type 1 with psychotic features. I would have hallucinations, auditory and visual, that I live with today. Depression so great it led me to thoughts of suicide. Manic highs so powerful and euphoric that I thought I could do things that were impossible, like run for the presidency of the United States at 18. I lost. I didn't even get on the ballot. And all of this, all these symptoms and these triggers and this pain derived from my traumatic infancy. I was born premature. I was born to biological parents who were on drugs. I was in squalor, is where I was born, in 6th Street in a crack motel in 10-1 in San Francisco, worst neighborhood there then, worst neighborhood there today. When the police found us, they said the children were lying there, barely clothed, in their own filth, screaming and crying not to be neglected. Humble beginnings is where my life began. And you have to understand how I got to the bridge, you have to understand where I came from. Mm-hmm. And at 19, 2 years after being diagnosed, on a rocky road of skyrocketing into manic behavior and crashing into depression every week, I solidified a plan for suicide. I believed I was useless, I believed I had no value, and I thought I had to die. I was wrong, but I couldn't see it. What I know today, which is helpful for some people, is that I recognize now what I didn't know then, that my thoughts don't have to become my actions. Just because I think of suicide, and just so you understand, I have chronic thoughts of suicide. They're putting that in the DSM-6, the diagnostic tool for mental health, is coming out with chronic suicidality as its own disease. It's sweeping the globe. And I found myself at the Golden Gate Bridge at 19, and I did the unthinkable. I heard voices in my head saying, "Jump now," and I did. I fell 220 feet, 25 stories at 75 miles an hour in 4 seconds, all the while praying that I would live. All I wanted to do when my hands left that rail were reach back and grab onto it. It was too late. Over 2,000 people have died at the Golden Gate Bridge in 80 years. 98% of them are gone. Basically 1.8% of those who jumped off that bridge have survived. And that's why I say I'm not lucky to be alive. I'm lucky I get to exist. And if I get to exist, I have to travel the world 300 plus days a year, trying to help other people of all walks of life do the same. I don't believe suicide is the solution to our problems. I believe it is the problem.
I 100% agree with you, actually. I've told the story on the air quite a few times. My dad actually committed suicide when I was 8 years old. He also struggled with mental illness. He had very severe depression and alcoholism. And so it's kind of a mission of mine to kind of normalize mental illness, because I too struggle with anxiety disorder and bouts of depression. And so I like to come on the air and kind of normalize it and tell people I just started going to therapy a couple months ago for the first time. So yeah, and I really like to try and spread the word to people that it's okay to talk about mental health. There's such a stigma surrounding it.
Not just stigma, it's a pure discrimination. When this country cannot give adequate mental health care as they do health care, I mean, we know the health system is broken, but when we can't even get health care coverage for pre-existing conditions that we have no control over, when our government doesn't fully fund brain, mind, behavioral, spiritual well-being, and suicide prevention, it's a giant mistake, and it's costing our country a great deal of money. $55 billion last year lost wages in mental health issues in corporate America. So if we actually address the problem, we could reduce the budget significantly. If we address the problem financially of suicide prevention and mental health in America, we would actually lower the budget by oodles, because you're talking about all the people that are the recidivism in the jail cells because of mental health, the recidivism in the psych wards. That costs our government money. That costs our states and our cities money. If you were able to streamline the mental health system, you would reduce the cost efficiently of the mental health issues of this country and the budgetary issues. You would keep people out of prison, which would cost less money. You'd keep people out of psych wards, which would cost less money. You'd put them into not just acute care, but mental health facilities and partial hospitalization programs that are designed to get people to recovery so they don't cost the cities money. And so if our government actually funded these things, we could save so much money. You could put it towards other things. But they cut the budget every time where? Mental health. Yeah. Immediately, as if we're unimportant. But in fact, if they just paid, if they fully funded those bodies, we could save every city countless amounts of money. What are we waiting for?
I sense your passion.
Yeah.
On the issue, Kevin. I think it's infectious. I think people really need to hear somebody like you with obviously a grip on all the complexities of these issues. So hopefully we encourage people to get out and see your performance, your speech tonight at Veterans Coliseum.
Well, one thing that's really exciting in America right now is that New York has just passed mental health education for third graders on up.
That's amazing.
In the entirety of New York. They're the first to do it, and now my wife and I and the Kevin and Margaret Hines Foundation and our Conquer Core project, that you said NORMALIZE, right? Mm-hmm. Conquer stands for CNQR, courage to talk about your mental health, normalize the conversation, ask the question to someone in pain, are you suicidal, do you have a plan? Statistically it shows that it gives people permission to talk about their pain and they tell the truth. R is for recovery, living proof, right? And so we take this and the Conquer programs and we're going to take them all around the world into high schools, grade schools, and colleges and educate our students and let them know from the moment they can comprehend what mental health is, how to fight it, beat it, and win, and live, and stay.
I love it.
It's so important.
It's so important, and people don't even realize how important it actually is. So once again, Kevin Hines, he's going to be speaking tonight at the Veterans Memorial Building in Cedar Rapids. That kicks off at 6:30. Doors are going to be opening up at 5:30 p.m. And then the Cedar Rapids Hope Walk is coming up tomorrow morning. They had to change the location for that. It's now at Cherry Hill Park in Cedar Rapids. Everybody is welcome to come to that. I'll be walking, some friends of mine will be walking, and Kevin will be there as well.
Kevin, thanks so much for taking the time and coming in today, and thank you for coming to Cedar Rapids.
Thank you for having me, you guys. You guys are awesome.
Awesome.
That was great. That was awesome.
Unreal.
I know. I told him, I go, hey, we're having Kevin Hines on this morning because I've been kind of the one coordinating this.
Oh,
and he was
nice.
and so I was like, you got to look up his story and read a little bit about him. And he was like, holy crap! Like, this is the most fascinating thing.
The first morning show partner I ever worked with was bipolar.
Really?
And,
my brother is bipolar as well.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
mental illness runs in my family.
So can I give you guys a couple of language suggestions? Mm-hmm. Not to offend, but just when we say committed suicide, it sounds like someone's committing a crime or a horrible act to somebody else. Usually what we like to say in the suicide prevention field is someone died by suicide. Okay. Like someone would die of liver cancer, lung disease, heart failure. We die of suicide the same way because
Committed sounds. It does not. It's
Yeah.
And,
It's just the only way I've ever heard it worded.
No,
so,
I totally understand. I just thought
Yeah,
I'd share that with
totally.
you. I just wanted to give you that suggestion because when you say die by, it gives the people who are going through that a little more humanity, I think. Yeah.
Okay,
And
yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And they told me about it, and I still struggle because
Yeah.
you grew up here.
Well, it's so common, and everybody knows it, and it's a fact of it's truth. But when you say die by, it's like it actually
It's
makes
less
it
of a choice.
less of a
Yeah.
choice because it wasn't a choice for me. I was compelled to die by voices in my head that I didn't want. You know. So, well, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
perfect. That was great.
Can I get a picture with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.